my second thing is, Alex, I was going to ask you, are you familiar with the 7 secret rulers of the world and who they really are? Do you have a list? Has that been exposed, or is there any way of telling the public who it is?
Well, I only go off what I can confirm, and the different managing roundtable groups, Bilderberg, Club of Rome, then the regional roundtable subdirectorates like the CFR, Royal Institute of International Affairs. But it is rumored, and a lot of top sources say that they have sources, and the people I tend to respect, that there is then a Council of 30, a Council of 13, and then I've seen the Council of 7. But what we've been able to confirm from high-level former CIA people and others, with Colonel Craig Roberts and others who's talked to these people, and I believe it when he says it, he doesn't make stuff up. And I've also seen that from other researchers that there is that it doesn't get smaller than a Council of 13. It's a Council of 13. But I mean, would you like to elaborate, or do you have any points?
Yes, I do. I got this website that my friend sent me last night, and it's got on here. It's called the skepticwiki.org, and it comes up with the NWO New World Order chart. Do you know about that?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of charts. I mean, I'm not poo-pooing it, but just because somebody makes a chart, I could make a chart with Donald Duck at the top of it. I mean, who does it say?
Okay, I'll give you the companies, and you tell me if you think they're legit. Disney Company, Kraft Foods, the Rand Corporation, Oprah Winfrey, Walmart, Noam Chomsky, and the other one is the General Dynamics.
I think that's a joke website. I mean, that's like Mike Myers saying it's run by Colonel Sanders. I mean, they're saying those are the rulers of the world.
That's what the one says. But Alex, I got documentation for you that I work
send it
for
to
Walgreens.
Me. You got Walgreens. Okay, separate issue. Go ahead.
I work for Walgreens, and we've never seen the owner to this day, and it's a pharmaceutical. I'm positive our owner's on that list. I'm positive.
Okay, look, I appreciate your call, sir. Send me the information, okay? Oprah Winfrey is not on the secret Council of 7. We don't even know if there's a Council of 7. We know there's a Council of 13, okay? Oprah Winfrey has been invited to top eugenics secret conferences at the Rockefeller University. That's been in the Times of London, to discuss forced population reduction, and she is as big as it gets in media, the biggest thing out there, because she can manipulate women. She's there to control women with kind of a new age type agenda that feeds into their whole plan. But and some of the other names on there, if you want to know who some of the most powerful people in the world are, it is the British House of Rothschild, and then there's the French House. They're very powerful, but not as powerful as the British. That's the head house. There's the Italian House. There's the German House. There are the Saxe-Coburg-Gothas, who are intermarried with a bunch of families, and intermarried with the Rothschilds as well. That's as high as it gets, the Rothschilds and the House of Gotha, Saxe-Coburg-Gotha. And they've knocked off the Habsburgs and many other royal families that they were cousins with. The czars were their cousins. They knocked them off. So really the last man standing with empires and imperial leadership are the British and the Japanese. But the Japanese factor in at a lower rung. And the Japanese royalty does swear fealty. I've even seen the ritual at the Tower of London, where all the royalty of the world comes and swears allegiance to the Queen. And then, of course, the Rockefellers are right up there at the very top. The superstars of the New World Order are the super gophers, the men given the power. In Roman times, they would call it a legate. And there might be as many as 10. And every major country under the Roman Empire, whether it was Egypt, or whether it was Greece, or whether it was Judea, or whether it was Germania, or Albion, Britain today, they would have legates who would travel between the places to speak with the imperial seal and to speak as the emperor. And so a Henry Kissinger, a George Shultz, someone of that level, a Gordon Brown is definitely an imperial legate of the New World Order. And he's one of the rarities where he's actually in power and running the G20 and actually calling the shots to a great extent as the main manager right now. Gordon Brown is really the kingpin politically. But normally people don't become legates or even sublegates, because they have sublegates as well. This is an imperial structure until they've already been president or prime minister and done a good job. And then they graduate into that level of a Henry Kissinger. Someone like a Henry Kissinger is more powerful than a Richard Nixon. And people are told, we'll give you the money, put you in power. You got to put Robert McNamara, a legate. You've got to put a Henry Kissinger, a legate. They're going to call the shots. And you listen to the tapes of McNamara, who oversaw the killing of Kennedy and the rest of it. And LBJ will be at his ranch outside Austin talking to D.C., and McNamara says, yes, sir, but McNamara is telling him what to do. And the subservient one is LBJ. And he's telling him, and LBJ saying, okay, yes, how do I do that? And a sublegate would be in the White House right now, Rahm Emanuel. And that's why he constantly talks down to Obama. Whenever the congressional leaders of both parties are there and the cameras aren't on, he gets up and cracks his knuckles and bosses Obama around. And they basically look to Rahm Emanuel and say, yes, sir, Mr. President. And then they basically slap Obama around and tell him, get out there and read the teleprompter. And it's bad news. It's bad news. Kevin, I appreciate your call. Let's talk to Jeff in South Carolina. Jeff, you're on the air.
The earthquake in Haiti, that HAARP records were deleted the day before the earthquake happened. January 11th is when the records are not available. And they also said that some certain British ships that normally are docked there left out a week earlier. Then they normally just stays there. They normally stay there the whole time. And I thought that was interesting, but I didn't, I wanted you to look into that,
Well, no ships stay places all the time unless they're in mothballs. But look, they have earthquake weapons. That's admitted. That's on record. The Pentagon was preparing, not just a drill, but running a full op to respond to a hurricane in Haiti. It's not hurricane season. It was a drill the day before out of Florida. Chavez, who I liked to a certain degree 3 or 4 years ago because he did stop the North American, Central South American Union, free trade areas of the Americas going ahead. He did set them back, but then he does censor and do a lot of things. So I don't know if I believe him or not, but he says the Russians gave them data. That's the article that Kurt Nimmo wrote with links to it, that the Russians gave him the data that it was an earthquake tectonic weapon. Then I have Secretary of Defense Cohen saying they have earthquake weapons. So I don't know. See, I know they're taking your baby's blood and putting it in the bioweapon lab to study race-specific bioweapons and also patent key DNA strands and key things in people's genetics that are unique to individuals. And then this has been going on for, again, more than 30 years. I've seen the federal cases a decade ago where families would go get, say their 30-year-old is dying of some cancer, say bone marrow. And in one case I saw in San Francisco, I'm going from memory here, but they went to get genetic therapy, and a company they never heard of came and said, you don't get that therapy unless you pay these hundreds of thousands of dollars. We got your blood sample at birth, and we patented this particular hemoglobin or whatever it was. Again, this is like 10 years ago, but I remember reading the article on air. So that family sued and lost, and the federal court said the UN basically owns your blood. So do you understand what they're doing, sir?
Yeah, it's incredible, man. That is.
But again, go look that up, because 10 years ago, that's foggy. But, I mean, I know I read it and saw it and did several stories on it. In fact, Google this for me right now, guys. Courts rule you do not own your own DNA. That should pull it up. For genetic treatments, you'll have to add that or it'll be some police case. Appreciate your call, sir.